So, literally earlier today, around 30 minutes to an hour ago, I was just talking to myself, and I talk to myself in some sort of a weird way. I know I sound like a crackhead right now, but I'm being real with you. I'm talking to myself as if I'm talking to someone else. And I'll be honest, I was kind of in somewhat of a negative mindset, talking to people who didn't believe in me. And I envisioned myself as some guy who's like a successful entrepreneur online and they're making like 3K a month or something. But they're like trying to convince me to go. I'm just telling you how the scenario was. And it's like they're trying to convince me to go to university. And it's like, but what if the business fails? But what if it doesn't work out? So I started ranting back, like, this is how weird I am, right? I'm talking to myself. Like, none of this is real. This is all a figment of my imagination, by the way. And I'm talking back to this guy and it's like, are you stupid? You're an idiot. And I think, you know what? I might as well make this a video because I want to share my viewpoint on this. I want to share my viewpoint on, like, this pretty much excuse of, but what if it doesn't work out? So I've just like rapidly made a script. I've got it on my phone here. That's why I'm looking down. The truth is, bro, when you say, but what if it doesn't work out? You're a Jeffrey. It's as simple as that. If you're worried about, but what if it doesn't work out? Well, no, you're not a Jeffrey. Let me not say that because sometimes there is validity with what you say. And if it's like, okay, but what if it doesn't work out? But most of the time, it's literally just your Jeffrey brain who is arguing against your success. Who, like, there's a part of your brain, like this Jeffrey side of your brain, that literally wants to see you fail. And it's thinking loser thoughts like, oh, but what if it doesn't work out? But what if this? But what if that? And it's constantly just giving you reasons not to take action. You need to stop thinking loser thoughts. You need to train that Adonis part of your mind to counter the Jeffrey brain. You need to, like, when you think, oh, but what if it doesn't work out? You need to start thinking more positive thoughts. And it's like, no, because I'm actually really educated on this. Don't be delusional. If you haven't educated yourself on it, don't start like deluding yourself. Like, no, I'm really educated on this topic. No, if you haven't been reading books, if you haven't been watching online courses, or if you haven't been like actively learning about the thing, you don't really get to brainwash yourself like that. But let's say you've been reading books and you've been watching online courses and you've been like looking at self-improvement YouTube videos. You're quite educated. You kind of have a direction and you somewhat know what you're doing. You might not have everything figured out, but that's fine because you don't need to have everything figured out. But if you're so like you're more educated than you think most of the time. So to say, oh, but what if it doesn't work out? Let's flip that. It probably will work out because you know what to do. If you've been watching online courses, reading books and whatnot, you've pretty much got instruction manuals right there. It's like it's 10 times more difficult for you to fail than it is for you to succeed. That's just one thing that come up off the top of my head. The second thing is that most of the time it's only upside. And I'm going to explain what I mean by this because this is really what I like. I might have to get the whiteboard out, so I'll get it ready. But I want you to imagine, right, it's only upside. Essentially, if it doesn't work out, nothing changes. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you work in McDonald's, right, and you're on minimum wage. Let's just say, to keep it simple, let's not say you're on minimum wage. Let's say you're earning $10 an hour, £10 an hour, right? And you're a McDonald's worker and you want to start a business, right? You might want to start a YouTube channel and become an online entrepreneur or whatever. You want to own a business of some sort. But you're worried, but what if it doesn't work out? Let's say you do nothing. You don't have a business. You still work that £10 an hour McDonald's job. Pretty much your life will stay the same if you do nothing, right? Let's say you try and it fails, right? Well, you could go back to the McDonald's job earning £10 an hour and pretty much most of your life would be the same, besides the fact that now you just failed the business. But let's say that you, like, because also, just for example, if you start the business, you will probably still keep the McDonald's job, because whilst you're building up the business, you probably just do it on the side rather than quit the McDonald's job to then, you know what I mean? But for the most part, nothing will change. But let's say now that you take action and you try that business and it pops off and it becomes successful. You don't work a McDonald's job anymore. You now have a successful business. You can retire yourself and potentially retire your family. You can go and afford new things. You can walk into the shop without needing to look at the price of any item, because your successful business gives you enough income to not worry about those things. It's pretty much only upside for you to pursue that. Because it's like, if you're working a McDonald's job right now, you're pretty much at rock bottom, or like nearly at rock bottom, right? If you try and it pops off, like your life will change. If it doesn't pop off, you stay at the same place anyway, so you might as well try. Do you know what I mean? And you could apply this same mindset to like trying to ask for a girl's number or whatnot. I don't have much experience in this area, to be honest. I have really little experience in this area. But it's like, let's say you have a crush on a girl and you want to go and speak to her, you want to go and ask for a number. Let's say you don't. Okay, well, you still have a crush on her. You don't have a number. You're pretty much in the same place as you were yesterday. Let's say you go up and she rejects you. You don't have a number. You might not have a crush on her now. And you might like realize, oh, we're not compatible and whatnot. But you have an experience. Here's one thing I need to mention as well. When you have an experience, that's like knowledge for later. That's like a way to navigate how you go about things. If you get a failure, you can see that as almost like learning points for you to correct course. Because it's like, okay, this didn't work. You go home, you watch a YouTube video and it tells you this is why that didn't work. And now you're like, oh, okay, so I'll keep that in mind. And now you won't do that anymore. And now you're like getting experience and learning. You kind of get my point, you kind of get what I'm getting at, right? It's like, okay, now let's say, for example, you go up to her, you go to your crush, and you get her number, like she likes you back. You have her number, you probably have a girlfriend now, or you might like have a first date, or whatever. There's so much more upside. So you might as well try. And to be honest, I'm telling you this, right? I don't have the balls to do this either, I'll be honest. Like, I haven't really sat there convincing myself, like, oh, it's only upside, bro. It's like, I'll be thinking, like, no, like, this is really scary. So I don't understand. The truth is, most of the time, when it's like, oh, but what if it doesn't work out? Most of the time, you're actually fine. Like, you're not gonna die. You're most likely not gonna go to prison. Like, there's not gonna be many consequences. You know what it really is, bro? You wanna know what the truth is? The truth is, it's like your ego's gonna get hurt. That's it. Your ego's gonna get hurt because you'll start to you might view yourself as more of a failure, and you don't want to feel that. Because back in school, when you got a bad grade or you made the wrong decision and whatnot, what happened? You was shouted at by teachers. You were screamed at by parents. You like, some things might have led to child abuse. So of course you're kind of afraid of failure, and as well, you don't want like your fake friends to laugh at you and whatnot. You don't want to feel that feeling of failure. You don't want to feel like a failure, because if you have this vision of like proving those people wrong, proving the Jeffreys who doubted you wrong, proving the Jeffreys who said that we couldn't make it, but then you fail, that's gotta hurt, because then you feel like, damn, they were right. And that hurts, bro. I'll be real with you, that hurts. But you kind of gotta be okay with that. You gotta be able to take that leap of faith, and it doesn't matter whether those Jeffreys laugh at you, because they'll laugh at you if you tried, and they'd laugh at you if you didn't try. It doesn't matter. And your ego will recover, by the way. Your ego will be fine. Like, it'll hurt a little bit, but that's when you just try again. You view failures, we already talked about this previously, but you view failures as completely negative rather than experiences to learn from. You don't see it as something where you can be like, okay, how could I have done that differently, which could have led me to success? Okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else and see if that works. Do you know what I mean? You gotta start thinking like this. One thing you can do, because as well, I will tell you, don't be an idiot. I preach like thinking positively, and you should think thoughts of success. You should believe in yourself. You should believe that you'll be able to figure things out, because that, like, from what I've seen, that's what like the top tier people are thinking. They're thinking, even if it doesn't work out, I'll be fine. I'll figure it out. I won't die. Nothing catastrophic will happen. I'll figure things out. I'll get back on track. You've got to have that mindset, but as well, you mustn't be delusional. You mustn't be so arrogant to think that you won't go through failures. So this is where foreseeing our potential failure comes in. Because when we foresee our potential failure, once we recognize that we might be going down that path, we can quickly change our direction to go onto the right path. Foreseeing your potential failure can work in literally like pretty much everything, I feel like. Let's say, I'll give you an example. You could foresee your potential failure of procrastinating in the gym, or procrastinating going to the gym, or being undisciplined. You could, let's say you're procrastinating on your work, for example. Let's use that as a better example. You could foresee the potential failure of you procrastinating before it happens. And so, like, let's say, for example, you're procrastinating on work. You would literally just visualize yourself procrastinating. You would see that you might be scrolling on TikTok or whatnot. And during that visualization, you want to see yourself realizing, oh gosh, I'm procrastinating. Get off of TikTok and start working. And then, when you actually do end up procrastinating on your work and you're on TikTok, you'll notice, and it's like, I literally just visualize this. Let me get off of TikTok and let me start working. And it'll give you increased chances of success. And we can do this with bigger things as well. If you're thinking of this decision, you think, okay, if it does work out, what could I do to get right, like, on the right track again? Let's say we try to start a business and it fails. Okay, what could I do? Okay, I could probably go back to my parents' house. It might be a bit like, it might destroy my ego, but you know what? It's better than being like homeless or something and being dirt poor on the streets. So I could go back to my parents' house. In the meantime, I could probably just work like some minimum wage job. I don't really have to like it, but I mean, you know what? Like, if if this really does fail, then I might have to. Do you know what I mean? And you're already starting to generate ideas of like, okay, if this does fail, I'll actually be fine. I've already got a plan. The interesting thing is, when you do this type of stuff, success is actually more likely. When you don't do this stuff, for some reason, I feel like success is less likely, because you just aren't built for it yet. You just don't have that mindset of like, okay, if this does fail, how would I get back on the right track? Okay, if I'm on the path to this failing, how can I correct course? Do you know what I mean? This is how we grow. One more failure is just another step to success. You must go through failures and stop seeing them as failures. Start seeing them as almost tests, experiments to gain knowledge and experiences. And once you start looking at failures that way, I promise you, you are going to make some progress on your self-improvement journey. Safe.